Grumpy girls. So it has been pouring it down with rain today, but it's now super sunny, isn't it? Hey Roo? Today is going to be Roo's first schooling session in June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. So because I haven't wanted him to go on soft ground, and I haven't wanted him to go in small circles because of his injuries, we have avoided going in the school. But I think now is the time to test him out. Rude, you're so rude. Test him out. So it will also be our first canter this week. Actually no, that's a lie. It'll be our second canter. He cantered on a hack at the start of the week, and now he's going to canter in the school. So I have been doing a little bit of research over the years of the ways that I can assess my horses and see how they're doing and make sure that I am looking after them as well as I can. And I've used things like Where Does My Horse Hurt? That book, kind of assessments, physios, slow motion cameras and things like that. But you may have seen it on social media and things, the 24 behaviours of a ridden horse in pain. So it's research that has been going on for years, and the saddle research trust, so Anne Bondi and Sue Dyson have really kindly sent me the 24 behaviour checklist, the Ridden test that you can do along with it, and the illustrated guide. And what it's all about is horses that are in pain, they've done loads of research behind it, will exhibit specific behaviours, and if they have over 8 of the 24 behaviours, it is most likely that they are in pain, and you can have further investigations to find out what that is. Oh dear, someone's so snoozy today. So this is my first time using the ethogram, so I'm sure that there will be things I get wrong, because the more you use a tool, the more kind of accustomed you get to an assessment, the better you're going to get at it. So I'm going to try my best. What we're going to do, somebody's nibbling my coat. What we're going to do is I'm going to put the Pivo in the middle of the school, and I'm going to then do a voiceover whilst using the tool and seeing how many of the behaviours he exhibits. Now my guess is it's going to be quite high because he is recovering from injury and we know that he has some issues at the moment, but it'd be really nice to see how we go. It says that you should do 5 to 10 minutes at walk, trot and canter, and get footage of the horse going away and from and across on both reins, and to be doing around the school 20 metre circles and 10 metre circles. Now Roo hasn't been schooled for quite some time, so I think we're going to be quite stiff and our turning's not going to be great. Joe, we're gonna be kind of probably quite hollow and not really moving from behind and things, because we are recovering. So I'm not expecting anything amazing, but it will be really interesting to see. There is a 30-minute kind of documentary explanation video on the 24 ridden pain behaviours of ridden horses, and I will put that link below. It's a YouTube video. It's really good. It tells you all about the research and how they're using it and kind of how beneficial it is. So if you want to learn like properly all about it, I would go and look at the official channels, but I thought it'd be really interesting for you to see someone trying to give it a go. So yeah, we'll go tack Roo up and I will voice over our schooling session. You don't look very ready. So first of all, I was actually really pleased that he stood for the mountain block and he was keen to go, ears are pricked forward, and he starts our session like looking really forward and keen, because I found a lot of the time with my horses when they're uncomfortable, they're quite fidgety at the mountain block, they move away a lot, and they're not as keen to like move off from the mountain block, and they look a little bit kind of grumpy. I mean, disclaimer, Roo looks grumpy a lot of the time, unless he is eating food. Actually, that's a lie. When he's eating food, he's also grumpy. So I have obviously edited down. I did a 30-minute schooling session with him, but I guess nobody wants to watch a whole 30 minutes of me schooling Rue. And I have watched that 30 minutes several times, going through the 24 behaviours, and I have kind of ticked and crossed and made a few little comments. So I thought I would share that with you now. So first off, is repeated changes of head position up and down, not in rhythm with the trot. So I said that he does have that, and he just naturally moves his head up and down a lot anyway, and it's not really in rhythm with the trot. So I've put a tick. I've tried to be extra cautious rather than be like, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. So if I'm not sure, I've done it as a tick, because I would rather err on the side of caution and looking after him than go for yeah, fine. So number 2 is head tilted or tilting repeatedly. So he doesn't tilt his head at all. He does move his head side to side. He's like looking left and right, but there's no like tilting going on. So I've put a cross for that one. The third is head in front of the vertical more than 30 degrees for equal to or more than 10 seconds. Now I put a little question here because he does put his head in front of the vertical, but it's not for really more than 10 seconds, and I wouldn't say it's 30 degrees either. You can see him shaking his head quite a bit here, especially as I ask for the canter transitions. And number 4 is the head behind the vertical for more than 10 degrees, more than or equal to 10 seconds. And again, he does put his head kind of behind the vertical a few times, but I don't think it's 10 degrees or more than 10 seconds, so I've said no. I think on the circles, the 20 metre and especially the 10 metre circle on the right rein, I think he looks lame. I haven't been doing any small circles with him because of his injury. We've been doing straight lines and hard ground rather than soft ground. So after this session and looking back, I'm not going to do any small circles in the menage until he's looking much better. I am going to do more schooling, especially as we've got dark nights now. I don't really have much choice, but I'm going to kind of go large. I'm going to stay away from small circles until we're a bit kind of further into our rehab. Number 5 on the list is head position changes regularly, tossed or twisted from side to side and corrected constantly. So you could say that his head position does change a lot, because it does, but I think that's his lack of schooling, rather than it is tossing and twisting from side to side and corrected constantly. So I wasn't really sure of that, but I have put it as a no. Number 6 is ears rotated back behind the vertical or flat, both or one only, for more than 5 seconds and repeatedly lay flat. I put a question mark for this because Rue's ears, all my horses' ears are like satellites, and they're always moving back and forward and around, and he never puts them completely flat. And he doesn't hold his ears in any particular position for more than 5 seconds. So I guess this would be a no, but it would be interesting to discuss that point a little bit further with someone who understands the ethogram a bit better than I do, or a lot better than I do. Number 7 is eyelids closed or half closed for 2 to 5 seconds and repeated rapid blinking. So he does blink, I guess, a fair bit. And also I did notice on his right hand side that the hackamore had slipped a little bit, so it was a bit closer to his eye, but he didn't do it for kind of half closed for 2 to 5 seconds, and he doesn't do loads of blinking, but he is closing his eyes and opening his eyes. So again, that's something I don't really know what's normal, and that's what's lovely about this. It's kind of making me think a little bit more about how my horses behave normally, so I can notice when they're not. Number 8 is sclera exposed repeatedly, so I didn't see that at all, not once actually, so that was good. And then 9 is intense stare, a glazed expression or zoning out for more than 5 seconds. Rue wishes he could zone out for more than 5 seconds, but I didn't feel like he was kind of glazed or just fixating on anything, so I've put that as a cross. What I did feel is that he was tripping quite a lot with his back legs. He really struggled with the downward transitions and the deceleration, which is putting more pressure through his injury anyway. And he really struggled with going into canter. So our transitions were fairly poor, but not unexpected, I guess. Number 10 is mouth opening, plus or minus shutting repeatedly with separation of teeth for more than 10 seconds. So I don't think he really does this at all. And I think this checklist is designed for a horse that has got a bit in, but I'm not entirely sure. So I've just done it as if it's designed for bit or bitless. I was about to go into a canter there, and then the pivo completely lost me, so that's why you didn't see the right hand rein canter. Number 11 is tongue exposed, protruding or hanging out and or moving in and out more than once. He does do this. He does this twice in the 30-minute session, and I couldn't really tell if it was like he was licking and chewing, or it was as kind of described here. So I've put it as a tick. Number 12 was the bit pulled through the mouth on one side, left or right, repeatedly. This isn't available because I don't have a bit, and I didn't feel like he was heavy in one hand or I was having to pull one hand more than the other. 13 was tail clamped tightly to middle or held to one side. As you can see, Rue's tail is like a little flagship up in the air, and he actually holds it fairly centrally. Occasionally I would say more to the left, but I've put that as a no. 15 is a rushed gait, so frequency of trot steps are more than 40 in 15 seconds, a regular rhythm in trot or canter, and repeated changes of speed in trot or canter. Now, although Rue is rusty, I think his rhythm is really, really good. He keeps a really constant speed, and he does rush into and out of transitions, but I've put this as a no because he's rushed in places, but he's generally got a nice rhythm. Number 16 is gait too slow, so frequency of trot steps are less than 35 in 15 seconds, a passage-like trot. He is slow. Rue has like one gear in every pace, and that is fairly steady, but I wouldn't say it was like passage-like, so we've gone for no. Number 17 is the hind limbs do not follow tracks of forelimbs, but deviated to left or right on 3 tracks in trot or canter. Now, I feel like I don't really know enough about this. Well, I do know, but I don't see it enough. I feel like if you were a dressage judge, this would be super easy for you to look at. I think the left hind does come inside the forelimbs track at trot. So I've put this as a question mark, and we will say for the sake of caution that it might be a tick, and it's another thing that I would like to kind of discuss. I wouldn't say he's completely on a different track. He looks fairly straight most of the time. Number 18 is canter, repeated leg changes, repeated strike off the wrong leg, change of leg in front and or behind, so like disunited. He does, I don't know if you see it in the session, but he does once on the right canter lead, he goes off on the wrong leg, but generally he was actually really good. And although the transitions weren't great, he still did it, and he did it well, and he didn't ask to come back to trot. He didn't do any like unasked for flying changes or anything. 19 is spontaneous changes of gait, so breaks from canter to trot or trot to canter more than once. He actually only does this once, like he falls into trot from a canter early on, so we've got a no for that. Then number 20 is stumbles or trips repeatedly, repeated bilateral hind limb toe drag. I have put this as a tick, and on the 30 minutes he has 5 hind leg trips, and he does occasionally drag his feet, and I see this on the lunge as well, which is why we're doing like lots of pole work to try and get him to pick up those legs, and I think this is related to his injury, to be fair. Number 21 is a sudden change of direction against rider direction, so basically spooking or spinning. I don't think Rue has ever done that with me, ever, and he didn't in this session either. Number 22 is reluctant to move forward, so has to be kicked plus or minus verbal encouragement and stop spontaneously. To be fair to him, although he doesn't really like being in the school and there's not much enthusiasm going on there, he never was reluctant. He kept on going, and for a first time back in the school, I think he went really well. Number 23 is rearing, so both forelimbs off the ground. Rue has never reared with me. He's beautifully behaved in that way, so that's across. And number 24 is bucking or kicking backwards one or both hind limbs. Again, he didn't do that either. So I counted that as 3 definitely ticks in the boxes, and then there were 4 that I'm a little bit unsure of. So that gives us 7 out of 24, and 8 is the threshold, which is really encouraging. However, I think he isn't looking great on the 10-metre circles, and there might be a little bit of discomfort there considering how he felt to ride. So I'm going to use this as kind of a way marker and a constant assessment, and I think it's a really good tool to kind of empower riders to look for pain without there being a really obvious lameness. And I have really enjoyed the process of filming it and then looking through it and being more analytical about how my horse is moving and the behaviours he's exhibiting. So I hope that it was a nice little insight for you guys. Let me know how you get on if you also have a go at using the ethogram, and go and do your own research about how it works and how it was developed and how it might help you.